Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? It's good to see all of you. Hey, sorry guys, I'm just taking care of some trolls that were in here earlier. I wanted to make sure that I got them to where they won't be back in here. So bear with me. I'm really stuffed up from my allergies today. So I may sound funny talking through my nose. Thought I had a cold, but it's not a cold. It's my allergies, and they're really messed up. So far so good. I haven't had too much problems with the asthma yet, but knock on wood. I've been dealing with since Sunday morning sciatica. Never had it before in my life, and I woke up with it on Sunday morning, and I cannot tell you the amount of pain I have been in. It's incredible. Hey, Cold Truth. How are you? Good to see you here. So I'm here. I'm glad to be here. I decided I really need to. There's just too many things going on that we should talk about. I probably really needed to go live yesterday, and I just didn't because I just did not feel well enough to. I was in too much pain. So I really didn't think I was going to make it tonight, but here I am. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Good to see you. Rosewood, glad you're here. Hey, Tech Deaf. Everybody, Tech Deaf music is what the intro is to my channel. So please make sure that you go over to his channel, check him out, subscribe and like. He's got tons of great music. He's wonderful. He is such a top-notch musician. I just can't say enough about him. He's also a very good person. Hi, John. How are you? It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're here with Michelle. I'm so sorry to hear that Jennifer's not feeling well. She texted me earlier, but she didn't say anything about not feeling well. So I'm really sorry I didn't know. I hope she feels better soon. There's just a lot of stuff going around. There's lots of stomach bugs. I know some people have been sick over the weekend with stomach stuff, and there's COVID out there, and there's just all kinds of stuff going on. So I hope that everybody can stay healthy. Hey, Rose, how are you? Good to see you. Always good to have you here with us. Hey, Louisa, glad you made it. Good to see you. Hi, Sierra Gerald's. Good to have you here. Hey, Lynn. Always good to see my doors here. Hi, hey, girl. Hey, David. How are you? Good to see you. Hey, Michelle. How are you feeling? How are you doing, Mel? I'm sorry I missed your live the other night. I so wanted to be there, but I couldn't make it. I'm so sad that I missed that live. Hi, Donna. Welcome to our channel. It's nice to have you here. Hey, Margaret. How are you? Welcome. I'm so glad to see you. Hi, Carrie. Hey, Jennifer. You made it. Hi, Donna Thomas. Good to have you. Yeah, Louisa, it's allergy season here for sure. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much. No, Jennifer, you are not invisible. I see you perfectly now. I'm just now getting down to the new comments. Hey, tattooed girl. Yeah, Jennifer, that's tough. I hope you feel better. Yeah, I'm just plugged up. It's like, it's just terrible. Hey, CJK, how are you? I hope you had a good 3-day weekend. Hi, Blind Squirrel. Hey, Jess Pam. Oh, enjoy your vacay. Your vacay. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope so. This sciatica is awful. Oh, good, Mel. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that your eyes are feeling better. That is good news. Hey, Allie, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, Jennifer, sorry. Hey, Cindy Delafuente, how are you? Welcome. So good to have you. Hi, Digital. So good to see you all. There's been a lot going on this weekend, hasn't there, in the Delphi community? I mean, gee Louise. After Saturday night's show, it's like everything blew up over the weekend. I was like, man, one of these days, you guys, it's going to really blow up. And we are going to get a huge announcement. It's coming. I just feel it. The more stuff keeps happening, the more I just feel it. It's crazy. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. If you guys saw my thumbnail for the show, I put out there what's the significance of Country Club Road. So we're going to talk about that tonight because there's a lot of significance. There's just a lot going on around Peru, and the Kleins, and the search is still going on. Today they were still out there. CJK, I was listening and watching. I have to say I was not happy. Sleuth's great. I Sleuth knows how I feel about him, and this is not any disparaging thing about his channel in any way, but how Julie Melvin and Kelly were treated on that show was just awful. I just couldn't believe how they wouldn't let her talk. She couldn't get a word in edgewise. Every time she tried to tell something or answer something, she was misdirected. They redirected her to a different subject. Thanks, Cold Truth. I really like my merch. I'm really, really happy with it. And I'm super happy with my Kristen mug. Can you guys see that, or is it is it too dark? I don't think my camera's working very well. So yeah, I just went off the screen. But yeah, that's my Behind the Crime Door mug. It shows better when I'm not using my virtual background, but I love that mug. So yeah, that one guy, Bill, yeah, totally and absolutely unacceptable. Derek Farmer was great. I think he tried so hard. Hey, Danger Dave, how are you? Derek was great as always. He's such a gentleman, and he always tries to be kind and treat everyone with kindness. And he was trying really hard, but boy, Yeah, I was not happy. And I'm sure that Sleuth wasn't either, really, when it came down to it. Because I know that he doesn't like um to do that. And I know they have to ask questions. And like he said, they have to ask hard questions of some of these people. And I totally get that when you're doing an interview, but when you're doing an interview with someone, you have to let them talk. You have to let them answer the questions. And I just thought it was bad. Hey, Cryptex, welcome. So glad you're here. So I don't know. I just didn't feel like they treated Julie with much respect, and that bothered me. Julie, people can say a lot of things about Julie Melvin, but one of the things about Julie Melvin is she is Cody Patty's aunt, and she knows more about this case than probably a lot of anybody. And that's just what I'm going to say. She has been deep diving this case since day one. And when I say deep diving, she knows all the players. Personally, she knows these people. She knows all the ins and outs of the family. She lived and grew up in Peru. She lived in Delphi. Her father used to be the chief of the fire chief in Flora. She has an enormous amount of information, and anybody who wants to know about this case should want to listen to her. Is she always right? Does she have all the right answers? She'll tell you no. She is a good person. She went with Skip. She met Skip in Delphi when Skip went to Delphi, and she was with him on the trails. When we had Skip on and he was showing the videos, that was Julie who was with him. And yes, Jennifer, I know which creator you're talking about. And you know what's hilarious about that is that she wasn't negative to him when he asked her to go out to the trails and do all of the boots on the ground videos in the very beginning. It wasn't until she had a falling out with Becky that all of a sudden she became horrible to him. And I'm sorry, we're not privy to that family dynamic and that history, and that to me does not give any creator the blank slate to just throw her under the bus and say all these horrible things about her. And that's how I feel about that creator and how that creator speaks about her. So she explained on Sleuth's channel about what happened with Becky. She was working the day of the funeral for Libby. She was at work. She wasn't at the funeral, although she was supposedly accused by Becky of being someone who took photos of Libby in the casket. And Julie said, "That's not me." Julie knows who it was that did it, but she says that it was not her because she was at work, and that she can prove that because she has her time cards. So, I get it. I understand where Becky's coming from and being furious with somebody who would do that. I think it's horrible that somebody would go to a child's funeral and take pictures of them in their casket and put them online anywhere. That is just not, that's just not, I just can't even describe. And so anyway, and I get that cold truth. She's not 100% infallible. She's made mistakes, and I get all of that. But I just don't understand not wanting to know facts from somebody who's that close to everything in this case. To me, it's just incredibly crazy. And that's just me. I want to hear from everyone. I want to hear all the sides. Now, granted, there are some creators that I won't listen to, but All I'm saying is, sometimes you need to listen just so that you can get some of the truth. Because even in stuff that's kind of crazy and stuff, there still can be truth in it. And so, anyway, moving on, let's not talk about other creators because I don't do that. I don't condone it. I don't like it. Everybody can make their own judgments about other people. I'm not here to do that for them. But I will say that, yes, I did watch the show with her on. I was happy to see that Kelly actually, after she hung up, because she was like, I'm out of here, that she went and called in and spoke on Sunny's channel. So I was happy to see that, so that at least she got to have a voice and answer some questions. But there's just a lot going on. And as Perry told us, Copfax told us in his last video, all of this fighting that goes on in chats on live streams it's detrimental to the case. It doesn't do any of us any good to sit here and try to monitor trolls all the time and the infighting and people going at each other. That's not what we're here for. That's not going to help this case. It doesn't do any of us any good that's trying to report on the case. And it needs to be stopped. And quite frankly, I think it's about the creator setting ground rules and sticking with them and not allowing that behavior. Because when we allow that behavior, we're basically signing off on it and saying it's okay. And it's not okay. So you're not going to have that here. I always tell everyone we treat people with respect here. Even if I don't agree with what you're saying, as long as you say it respectfully and you don't come at my moderators or any of my subscribers or anyone else, you will be allowed to speak unless you are being disrespectful to the victims or the families. And that's it. Or me, I guess. I don't want you being disrespectful to myself either. So anyway, with all of that being said, what I was trying to say is Copfax told us in the last video that we really need to stop it. And we really need to try to stay on point and on focus so that things are happening right now in Delphi in the murder case. Behind the scenes, things are going on. They are moving along. And we need to remain diligent and keep talking about what's going on. And just keep an open mind about what's happening out there. I know everybody's emotions are up here. I get that. I was talking to somebody today who basically took a break from the case for quite a few days. And I'm like, and Danger Dave, thank you so much for becoming a door. I so am happy. Thank you so much for your membership. I appreciate you being here. You're here every live stream. I just am so glad. You always bring such great content to my content. So we're happy to have you, Dave. But yeah, we have so much going on that's actually good movement, in my opinion. And so it's like, what, where do we go from here kind of thing? And the one thing that I want to talk about first, before we get into the topic for tonight, I want to talk about a lot of all of this chatter that's everywhere that people are talking about. Donna Thomas, you are so right. If people would just be kind to one another, this world would be a better place. All we need is kindness. So easy to be kind. I don't understand why everyone has to be so hateful. It's just terrible. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was all of this hustle and bustle all over social media about all of the people talking to Kagan and what Kagan may be saying to law enforcement at this time. Is, we've talked about, is Kagan, turning state's evidence? Is Kagan talking about his dad? Is he talking about someone else? We can only hope, right? We can only hope that that's what's going on. Now, a lot of people have talked about the fact that Kagan tells lies. We know that Kagan lies. We are all well aware of that. So we have to take what he says with a grain of salt, right? But I definitely think it's quite possible that he is talking. And we definitely know that his attorney says they're in negotiations. Here we go. So that could be negotiations for his CSAM case, guys. We have to remember that no charges have been filed against anyone in the Delphi case. Nothing. We do have a couple of interesting developments, however. We know that they're still searching the river as of today. We also know that I think I had 5 emails over the weekend from people telling me that they had called the Miami County Sheriff's Office and told them they were told it was a training exercise. I don't believe that. They're not going to drain and lower a river for a training exercise. I just don't believe it. They don't want people knowing what they're doing. They're not going to tell us what they're doing. So I just want everybody to know that, they're not doing this for training. They don't have that kind of money to just go out there and blow. It costs a lot of money to lower a river. They didn't drain it. They lowered it by about 3 feet. They backed it up by some dam somewhere. They held the water back. So, they are not going to tell us at this point what they're doing. They are not going to taint a jury. The people in this area of Indiana all are possible jurists on this account. So we have to remember that. I do believe when this case is brought to court, the defense attorney is going to ask for a change of venue. I almost guarantee you that that's going to happen. Oh yeah, Donna, that river is a lot deeper than what it is. Those guys, it's a river. It's not a creek. It's a river. It's much deeper than that. So, anyway, they want us, maybe digital's right. They want us to keep talking about it and speculating on it, but they're not going to tell us exactly what they're doing, and especially not anymore. I think the case has gotten too close to where they need it to be to let us know what's happening. Now, I got all these things, and I don't want to be all over the place with it, but you guys know me, and I got my trusty little notebook here because I took a whole bunch of notes because I watched that interview that I told you guys about in my community post on Aaron Mull's channel with Tony Klein's old friend. And yes, I did listen to the new episode last night, the new one that dropped yesterday, which that one is really interesting, you guys. So these people these investigators want this case solved. It's going on 6 years. It'll be 6 years in February, and they want it solved. So, hey, the Healing Room, welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing, and welcome. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you guys was, we're going to talk about this interview, but we're going to also talk about the fact that on September the 1st, Travis Trexler was arrested. Travis Trexler lived at the Country Club address. We're all familiar with the Country Club address because it is listed in the transcript of Kagan's interview with police. So, when the police asked Kagan where he was and what he was doing on the 13th of February in 2017, he told the police this. He told it was talking about Vito. He told him, I was at home. My dad did not work that day, and he was off, and that they probably got up and had lunch somewhere, and then he didn't know where his dad was, but that he went to his grandparents, and that they met at his grandparents for dinner. And the police looked at him and told him that they knew that that was not true, that his phone pinged or was at the Country Club address. And he said, well, yeah. He goes, I was at my grandparents, and they live on Pawpaw. And that's not Country Club. That's Pawpaw. And they were like, no, this was Country Club. And so Travis Trexler is Tony Klein's cousin. And he's Kagan's second cousin, because I think he's Tony's first cousin. I think that's right. And so Travis has a extensive My Case on if you go on My Case in Indiana, you can find all of his charges over the years. He definitely has an alcohol problem. He has been arrested numerous times for DUI. He was he was arrested last year for felony DUI and put on probation for it. he was charged, or he was on probation. I'm sorry. He was on probation already and committed another DUI where they charged him with reckless endangerment of someone who must have been with him, I'm assuming, in the car. And so he was in trouble. And when he got the DUI, they put out a warrant for his arrest because he broke his parole. And that was in November of 2021 that they put out the warrant for his arrest. And Travis went on the run. Travis was nowhere to be found. And so I'm sure he was around I can't imagine, because they ended up picking him up in Peru, but they couldn't find him. And so, anyway, he was picked up on the 1st of September, and he lived at the country club address. And this is the address that they told Kagan that they knew he was at on the 13th of February. Now, one thing I think is funny is that they said that his phone was dialed into Wi-Fi at that address and was looking at CSAM. I think it's crazy that Kagan, being semi-tech savvy, it seems like he knows technical stuff, and especially phones and things like that, would not know that when he got to a residence, if he'd been there before and used their Wi-Fi and had their Wi-Fi password, that it would automatically connect when he arrived. Michelle, thank you so much for the super sticker. How kind of you. Thank you for supporting me. So anyway, we know that now. Now the question becomes, did they pick him up on the warrant for another reason, just besides the warrant? And so those are questions that, we don't know the answers to. But all we know is that he has been arrested and that he is friend one that Kagan talks about. And friend two, friend one, which one? Friend one, friend two. The other friend also that's mentioned in the interrogation, he was released early the other friend was released early from a gun charge in Nevada on an ankle bracelet. And that happened on August 18th, the day before the 19th, when they took custody, when ISP took custody of Kagan. That's right, Savannah. You are absolutely right. Correct. I am being corrected. You're absolutely right. Travis Trexler is Kagan's second cousin. So, but he is the person who lived at the house, the country club address that the police that the police are looking at Kagan being at that day. And what I think is interesting to me is that police know exactly what's going on. They know the placement of these people and where they were, and where their phones were and what their phones were doing. So I thought that that was kind of interesting when they were interrogating him and asking him these questions. I kept wanting to ask myself, why would Kagan not want to admit that he was at his cousin's house? Why would it be imperative for him to say and lie that he was at grandma's? Because what would be the difference between being at grandma's house or being at the cousin's house? So anyway, one of the things that comes to mind on all of that question is that, okay, Cryptex, so I am right. Friend 2 was TT. I thought I was, but I don't have the transcript right in front of me. So yeah, I noticed that there's something going on in chat. So will you guys, my mods, if they're not going to behave and keep it respectful, please just get them out, because I don't want that tonight, especially tonight. So when I was talking about the interview that I listened to from Aaron Mull with this guy who called in, Scott Washington is what he ended up calling himself. I mean, that's not his real name, but he's supposedly a friend of Tony's for over 50 years. I took tons of notes on this guy's interview. That was a 4-part interview. And then Aaron dropped another part last night. One of the things out of that interview is that the grandmother has said that she has not seen, or the only time she would see Tony or Kagan was on the holidays. They didn't come around. They didn't go to the house for dinner on Tony's days off. They weren't hanging around. Tony didn't get along with his dad. Grandma reported that Tony didn't like the fact that his dad would tell Tony what to do. And so when I read that, I thought that was really interesting, because if this friend is real, which I'm having a lot of problems with this guy's story, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But if he's what he's saying is partially true, and that's true, that's huge, because Kagan made it sound like they went to grandma's a lot, and they were there a lot, and that's not what I understand. And this friend also said that Tony's mom is in very poor condition. She was actually in poor condition for a while, and he was surprised that she had not passed away before Tony's dad. And I've often said that they probably they're older. Their health has probably suffered from all of this nightmare that's happened to them since everything came to light about Kagan in 2020. And they're probably, hey, Danger Dave, be safe out there, okay? And that, that's just the stress of that has got to be terrible. So you've got that going on, So we've got that lie. Grandma and Grandpa's house, they were not at on February 13th. Grandma says they only saw them on the holidays. This guy says that Tony has a history of deviant behavior as far back as he could remember. And he also talked with Tony about that he needed to check out YouTube. And Tony was like, why? And he's like, because you're all over YouTube. Everybody has accused you basically of being this person. And he got mad. According to the friend, Tony got angry. According to him, he didn't pay attention to YouTube or anything like that. And he talks about Tony being having these foot issues after the murders, not before. But after. And he told him when he was having a lot of the foot issues, he said, Tony, you have diabetes. You need to go get checked out. So I know I'm not putting up with this. Hold on a minute. Okay. So he was walking with a limp foot, painful foot, whatever. And the friend told him he needed to have it looked at. So over time, he said he lost his big toe first. And after that, he lost part of his foot. They amputated part of his foot, not his whole foot, just part of it. So when this friend talks about Tony in so many different ways, I just can't believe that this guy's real. And you know what? The more I started rewatching, rewinding, listening, writing down things, I got to thinking to myself, and I know you guys are going to think that I'm crazy and that I'm probably drinking tequila or something, which I'm not. I promise. But I begin to wonder if it wasn't Tony Klein that was actually the person who was calling in, talking to Aaron about himself, because I was like, this just was so bizarre. So, he said as far back as he could remember, Tony had a deviant behavior from like between the ages of 12 to 16. Definitely everybody in the neighborhood knew that he was into voyeurism, and that he was basically a peeping Tom. So he also said, he said that in high school, Tony would be at a party where they were drinking and couples would be making out or going at it, as he put it, and in their parents' bed. And here comes Tony Klein, fully naked, wanting to get it on. And I'm like, what? Can you imagine being in high school with your girlfriend or your boyfriend and you're, whatever, and here comes some naked guy wanting to get involved? I was like, what is he talking about? I couldn't believe that this guy said this about Tony. And I know Aaron was kind of looking like, what is this guy talking about? And he said that, I would hear, and we would hear a lot of these stories, but they were like 30 years ago. He said he was not in his immediate social groups. And that this guy was older than Tony, but he still called him his friend. It's just the craziest thing, the way he tries to describe his relationship with Tony. He says that they were friends, but not really friends, and that the guy actually went to Tony. He was that Tony flocked to him and not him to Tony. And so I didn't know what to make of that. He said he was closer to Tony's sister than he was Tony. And when Aaron asked him, well, when was the last time you talked to Tony's sister? Because he claims that Tony and he talk multiple times a day, usually at least in the morning and at night. They talk almost every day, if not every day. And he said, well, I haven't talked to his sister in years. And I'm like, well, then how can you be closer to his sister than him if you haven't talked to her in years? It's things like that that just don't add up. And so he talks about how he was called in by law enforcement and he was given, all kinds of interrogation. He had to show his phone. They wanted to see all the conversations that he'd had with Tony. They asked him if they could keep his phone. He said yes. He said they had it for 3 days and gave his phone back. But he said they told him that there was a window on the night of the 13th and the night of the 14th. He couldn't remember which night for sure, but it was at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock and 8:01, Tony Klein called him. It was either the night of the 13th or the night of the 14th. And they asked him, why would Tony be calling you? And so anyway, I don't understand. I don't understand it. Some of the stuff that do you need me to refresh? Do you guys need me to go out? Can you see me? Because I look fine. On my end, everything looks fine. That is not sleuth. That is not sleuth. That is not you. I know you're not coming in here and telling me that my channel is drama and no facts. That is not him. Hold on a second. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Anyway, Sleuth would not do that to me. I already know that. So that was not Sleuth. He said that DNA was taken by Tony Klein, Tony's dog, and Kagan. They all gave up their DNA. They both took lie detector tests. Now he's saying that law enforcement would not confirm this, but that this is what Tony told him. And he said that the DNA that was left at the scene wasn't a match. And I just, like I said, I don't understand, like I said. I don't know what's going on, guys, because I'm not freezing at all. I don't show any freezing on my end. So I don't know. I've never had any issues ever with my live streams freezing. So I don't know. But Tony did say he doesn't watch he doesn't watch TV, and that he didn't know that Kagan was throwing him under the bus. Now we know that that's not true. Come on, really? This guy is he's stuck at home with a foot issue. He's not going to watch television. I find that really hard to believe, especially in this day and age. Tony told the friend that he had ceased contact with Kagan and stopped giving him money as of sometime between Halloween and Thanksgiving after he was arrested. And that's when he told him, well, if you haven't YouTubed yourself, you better. And this friend said Tony told him, hey, I was in custody for well over 6 hours and took a polygraph. I am not who they're looking for. Oh, Alicia, I totally and absolutely believe you. I don't believe Tony. But I'm not sure I believe this friend either. Great, the healing room. I'm really glad that you are. Hey, Gonzo, how are you, my friend? It's so good to see you. Much love. The friend said that Tony had a partial amputation, and like I told you, he lost his big toe first, and then they took off half of his foot. He also said that he has a daily routine where he gets up and goes and visits his mother, and then goes to his father's grave. That he goes to doctor's appointments or sometimes after he visits his father's grave, he'll stop and meet this friend for lunch because his doctors are in the same town the friend lives in. He'll go to his doctor's appointment because of the amputation. He has to be seen a lot. And so he'll go to his doctors, and sometimes if they don't have lunch, then he'll actually stop at the friend's house. And he said, but it's not a long visit. He said he's only here a short time, less than an hour, but he still stops in. The police asked the friend, supposedly, did you know that Tony has an authorization to shoot and kill deer from inside his truck? And the friend said, no, he didn't. And he said, yes, he has an authorization to shoot and kill deer from inside the cab of his vehicle. The friend told Aaron that he doesn't think that Kagan or Tony have anything to do with this because he doesn't feel that they're physically capable of committing this kind of crime in that terrain. And he said that Tony visits him up to 3 times a week. The friend also told Aaron that he doesn't feel that law enforcement has a case to prosecute. They have to have 100% ironclad case. And they don't. They don't have DNA. According to him, they have no physical evidence that's going to give them a conviction on double murder. And so that was the gist of what I wrote down and there was a lot more over the 4 sessions that Aaron dropped the interview in, the first one. And then days later, I don't remember how many, he called him back. He emailed Aaron back and said there were some things that he wanted to say, and Aaron wanted to clear some stuff up because he actually went back over and listened to it, and I think in a lot of ways he was not buying what this guy was telling him, because when you listen to the interview, there's just a lot of things that don't make sense. So yeah, exactly. He said, at the end of this, I did not buy that this guy is who he says he is. Exactly. I just don't believe that he's a friend of Tony Klein's. He's somebody else. Whether it's Tony or a friend of Tony's trying to make Tony out to be innocent, I don't know. The guy talks about Tony being this super social guy. Everybody in Peru loves him, respects him, and he's super social. How can you be super social if you don't go anywhere? I mean, he's telling Aaron the guy is homebound, doesn't go anywhere, hasn't for years because of this foot issue that he's got. And now he's telling him that he's just this super social butterfly. It doesn't make any sense. Basically, he said he was quite popular. He's well liked. And he said, if you ask these people in his circle in Peru, they don't believe he's guilty of this. They don't believe it. They don't believe he's a big bridge guy. And all I wanted to say, if I had been Aaron, I would have said to this guy, do you know how many convicted killers, and especially psychopaths or sociopaths, those type of individuals, do you know how many of them hide the fact that they are? You never know that side of them. You are never, ever going to know that side of them. Hang on a minute, Paula, and I'll drop Aaron Mull's YouTube channel for you. I will have it in the description below my live stream, so you can find it there, but just a minute and let me look it up for you. Aaron is a really good channel. If you guys haven't checked him out, you should. Okay, there you go. That is the address to Aaron's channel, and you can hear the interviews there, or the interview. Anyway, and I'm thinking to myself, BTK comes to mind. We've all talked about this. It's like, what is, just because you can sit there and say, well, it's not them, because they're just not them. You don't know, because there's a lot of things about people we don't know. I wonder how many people knew that Kagan was downloading all of this CSAM, and that all of this CSAM was being looked at in that house. Law enforcement said 2 people in that house were talking to girls. It wasn't just 1, it was 2. So, come on, he said, the friend told Aaron, he said, look, he's not losing any friends. He's not been worried about being in jail for murder either. He's out having a good time. He's out living his life. And I'm like, not if he's homebound. I'm like, that's not living your life. What is he talking about? So it's like he gives you one, what am I trying to say? He gives you one narrative about who Tony is, and then turns around and talks about him differently. And I thought it was crazy. And one of the other things that happens in that conversation, at the very end of the conversation, the guy says, oh, wait, something's happening. I got to go. Click. That was the end of the call. So it was bizarre. And Aaron said that he was out of town because he's doing a documentary. He's filming a documentary somewhere else in the country right now. And when he gets back, he's going to have a live and talk about the call. Because I don't think at this point that he believes it at all either. Tamara, those were so crazy. I'm telling you, I can't. I can't believe it. I cannot believe how crazy that interview was. But anyway, yeah, I thought that too, Freckled Joy. I thought, that's somebody that's pretending to know Tony, that just wants 15 minutes of fame. It's got to be something weird. I mean, it's just, and like I said, for a hashtag second, I thought, wow, what if that was Tony Klein that called in? Who knows? But just crazy. It took him forever to get his thoughts out. That was another thing. Yeah, it really is hard to listen to. It took forever. That should not have taken that long, because he didn't have a lot of that much to say. But so, here we've got a lot of things. We've got a so-called, well, we've got two people that we know are talked about in the interrogation that have recently, one's been arrested, one's been let out of jail on an ankle bracelet early. Is that coincidence? Is it related? Are they talking to these people? Do these people happen to know something about the case? Very possible. Very possible. We don't know. I just, like I said, there's just so much crazy around this case. We have talked about it before. And I want to show you guys something. So this was on Reddit today. Hold on a second. Me trying to figure out my new Mac. Hold on a minute here. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see this. Can everybody see that okay? If you can see this, it's from the Libby and Abby sub on Reddit, and Anna Williams, which is Abby's mom. Abby's mom looks like she posted this on Facebook, it looks like, possibly. And she said, this pretty much sums it up. And she's got sad faces. Christy Stonebreaker posted, this is Tony Klein from Peru, Indiana. He thinks he's very funny. Since your name is being tossed around in connection to the murder of children, maybe you should refrain from making jokes about it. Human garbage. And this is the picture. You can see him laughing. I'm going to show you the actual picture. Hold on. This is the picture that was posted, and it says, Peru's most wanted stopped by. And there he sits, laughing, and he posts, Peru's most wanted stopped by. How is that funny? Who does that? I mean, it's just crazy, you know? And Anna caught wind of it. Anna saw it, and like she said, you know, it's just sickening that people think that posting that kind of stuff is funny, because it's not funny. You know, these are real people, and I feel so sorry for them. So speaking of Carrie, I just wanted to tell you that the Sun did a article on September 3rd, and part of it is about Carrie. The headline for the article is, Death is Too Good for Him. The Delphi murder victim's mom wants the killer to die a slow, painful death, and reveals fear about catfish linked to the case. Carrie German told the U.S. Sun that death would be too good for her, for whoever murdered her 14-year-old daughter, Libby, and her best friend, Abigail Williams, in Delphi, Indiana, over 5 years ago. The two 8th graders were found dead on Valentine's Day in 2017, a day after they vanished while hiking through the woods of the historic Delphi trails. How they were killed has never been revealed by police, and all that is known about the murders is that the girls' bodies were posed and undisclosed trophies were taken. The identity of Libby and Abby's murderer also remains a mystery. Whoever that person should be, and whenever they should be unmasked, Carrie says the culprit is undeserving of any mercy and should be spared no pain. I don't know if what I want to say about what I think should happen to them can be printed, mused Carrie. But I will say death is too good for him. unless they bring back the electric chair. I want him to die a slow and painful death, that's for sure. Before such a time, Carrie said she would want to ask the culprit a series of questions to finally learn what happened to Libby and Abby. Chief among those questions is why Libby and why Abby? Why did these girls have to die? 5.5 years on from her daughter's slaying, and Carrie says she feels as though she's no closer to getting her questions answered than she was on day one of the investigation. But while updates have been few and far between from Indiana State Police since February 17, 2017, there may finally be some movement in the case, with investigators seen searching a river in the nearby town of Peru for the last few weeks. The river is roughly 40 miles away from where Libby and Abby were killed, and 2 miles from the family home of the seeming current focal point of the case, Kegan Kline. Kline is an accused pedophile who was communicating with Libby through a catfish social media account prior to her death. He has not been named a suspect and has denied any wrongdoing. He is currently in jail awaiting trial for separate child sexual abuse material charges. His trial for that case has been repeatedly pushed back by officials for reasons unknown. Though police have refused to comment on whether the river search is related to Kline or the Delphi murders, sources close to the investigation indicate to the Murder Sheet podcast that it is. Legal documents released earlier this month also seem to support that assertion. According to court papers, Kline was temporarily moved from custody of his local authorities and into the hands of Indiana State Police, the lead investigators in the Delphi murders at around the same time that the river search began. Police have not confirmed what it is that they are searching for, though, and investigators have been seen combing through the shallow waters with metal detectors and scuba gear for over 2 weeks now. The Indiana State Police does have a dive team in the area, a spokesperson for the ISP told The Sun, but I cannot confirm that they are conducting a search or if it's related to the Delphi investigation. Some law enforcement experts have speculated that Kline may be working on a plea deal with prosecutors, though it is still not known if the search is related to his own child CSAM case or the Delphi murders, or if anything. Should the search be related to her daughter's murder, Carrie said she hopes that Kline isn't leading police on a wild goose chase. My worry is if he's trying to get a plea deal or whatever, then what if he's just telling them all lies? What if he's full of shit? Because he seems to be quite the liar to me, she charged. If he's leading us on another wild goose chase, then that would be gut-wrenching. As investigators continue to mysteriously search the Wabash River, Carrie German insists she isn't getting her hopes up that a breakthrough could be near or already unfolding. She said she hasn't been contacted by police about the search as she has been for other significant developments, and everything she knows about it she learns on Facebook. It certainly seems like it could be significant, but as to what it pertains to, I don't have a clue, Carrie said. It could potentially have nothing to do with the girls at all, and that's the sickening thing about it all, and that it gets all this talk, but it may have nothing to do with them, and then I get myself all upset over nothing. I don't want to put too much stock into it until I hear something from law enforcement, she added. I don't know what they're looking for. It could be a weapon. It could be a laptop. It could be something as small as a trophy from the murders. It could be anything. It's obviously significant in some way. I can only just hope that it's for the girls, but we just don't know. If it's related, whatever they're looking for, I hope it comes sooner rather than later. It would be great to finally get some justice for the girls. Hey, Fig, how are you? So good to see you, my friend. The existence of the search in Peru isn't the only bombshell unearthed by the Murder Sheet podcast of late. Yes, SP74 it is, but that's not what the article called her. In an episode last week, hosts Anya Kane and Kevin Greenlee revealed for the first time, citing law enforcement sources, that Klein had searched for a gas station in Delphi on his phone on the day of the murders. While Klein has denied being in Delphi on February 13th, 2017, ISP reportedly directed the FBI to go to the gas station and obtain its surveillance footage to see if he ever came in. A worker at the gas station told police he remembered agents coming in to collect the footage in the early days of the investigation. The FBI, as per the podcast sources, reportedly tried to download the video to a thumb drive, but suffered a technical issue. When the issue persisted, the gas station worker handed over a hard drive containing the footage, which agents then took away with them. However, there were either additional technical issues or some kind of task management mishap, and the FBI later returned the hard drive without having viewed or downloading the footage. This mishap may have been a missed opportunity to place a potential suspect near the scene. When contacted for comment about the claims, the Indianapolis division of the FBI declined to discuss any aspect of the case, citing an ongoing investigation. Carrie German, meanwhile, says she is shocked, frustrated, but sadly not surprised by the potentially crucial error. I'm slightly surprised because I'd expect the local police department to fumble the ball like that, but I wouldn't have thought the FBI would, said an anguished Carrie. It's extremely frustrating. These people are meant to be protecting and serving, yet apparently they can't even retrieve evidence properly. These are the people who are saying, oh, well, we'll catch him, don't worry. But how? Honestly, it just disgusts me. Carrie added that she has lost all faith in law enforcement to get justice for her daughter. Who can we even turn to at this point? If you can't trust the police to do their jobs and you can't trust the FBI, then what hope do we have? It's just crazy to me. Excuse me. Police have never publicly revealed how Libby and Abby were killed. Few updates have been issued by investigators over the last 5 years. One crucial item of evidence at the center of the investigation is a short video captured by Libby on her phone showing a white male dressed in jeans, a hoodie, and a blue jacket with hands in his pockets walking towards the 8th graders on a bridge. The man who police believed killed the girls chillingly tells them, guys, down the hill. The identity of the man depicted remains a mystery. Anyone with information about the murders of Abby and Libby are asked to email Abby and Libby tip at kakoshrf.com or call 844-459-5786. I'll put the link to this article in my description under the live tonight. So anybody who wants to go there and check it out can. I also wanted to post this. Here is an address for how to search court records in the state of Indiana. If you guys would like that, because I thought that would be helpful. And I'm going to post this one. If you go to this link and select any Indiana, it allows you to see if someone is in custody in Indiana. If requested, it will also notify you when someone is released from custody. So those of you that want to keep track of that, that's a good one to have. I'm going to also post this one in chat. This one here is the Indiana Department of Corrections. It will tell you anyone who's in prison in Indiana. This one here is really important. So I'm going to post this one as well. And this one here is how to search the sex and violent offender registry by county in Indiana. I think that those are super helpful links. And this link, the last one that I'm posting, I think is also extremely important. And on this particular link, this is where the protection order registry is at. And if you if you click on it and search protection orders, it will allow you to search for protection orders recorded in Indiana. And I thought that those could all possibly be helpful for people who really are interested in following the case themselves and would like to keep up to date on that. So I thought that there was a couple of things that I did want to say before I get out of here that I just want to kind of throw out there to everyone. These are just kinds of questions that I have. If Kagan isn't Bridge Guy, but knows the identity of him, why wouldn't he just tell? What would keep him from telling that information? Why would anyone that knew that information not want to share it? But you know what? I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. There are so many twists to it. You know, it could be so many different things. We just don't know. But it's just, they have so much on Kagan. I find it really hard that he's not going to do time. I'm real interested to what all of this is about when they talk about doing some sort of a plea deal with him. And I just wish I knew what that deal was. And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. And this was the other thing that I wanted to show. Hold on one second, because I'm going to share my screen on this one. If I can get back there. It's been weird. Hold on a second. I don't even know if I can read this because it's so small. I don't have my glasses on. This is from the transcript. And they ask him, so do you remember the night of the 13th, the night that the girls went missing? Do you remember communicating with Kelsey German? No, I don't. Has anybody else had access to the Anthony Schatz login? I mean, information. I lived with my dad, but I don't know. Do you think your dad could have been accessing that profile? Yeah, I do. Do you think that your dad could be involved in? No. What happened to Abby and Libby? No, because I was with him that day. So you were both at home in Peru, Indiana? So we all know that they weren't at home. We know what the story was. We know that he said that he went to his grandparents. We know by what the friend told us, the only time they went to the grandparents, according to Grandma, was to be there for the holidays, on holidays. So I'm assuming Christmas, Easter, those kind of things, maybe birthdays. So there's a lot of lies out there, you guys. There's a lot going on that's just pure lies. So one of the things that we have to do is be patient, take in all the information, make notes, keep track of things, who said what when, try to catch people. You know, it's crazy, Kelly. It is so crazy. And I just want to thank you, Kelly, for everything that you've been doing to help this case along. And apologize to you for how you were treated last night. I was so very sad to see that and how you were talked to on Sleuth's channel. That should not have happened. And you're right. At least we know that her phone is the blueprint and that this is an internet-related homicide. We know that much for sure. And I just want to commend those that are out there that are trying to oh, I know. I'm going to have some tea when I'm done. It really takes a toll talking for this long when you're I'm looking back at the chat to see what's going on in there tonight. It just seems kind of crazy. So yeah, Unsolved, you know what? That could be, Allie, that could very well be what it is. What is going on? There you go. Maybe one of the men went out there to meet one of the girls, saw there were two, things didn't go as planned, one got mad, things got out of control. Absolutely. I also think that this is possible, you guys. This is a very possible scenario as to what happened. There were rumors in the very early days of this case all over web sleuths and I'm trying to remember where else that I read, that I saw it, that I remember seeing it. But anyway, there were a ton of people talking that Libby's friends were saying that Libby had told them that she was going to go to the police about something. And that has been speculated on for 5 years about what that could have been. Why was she going to go to the police about something? And all I'm saying is, if she was being catfished and she realized that she was finally, and she was going to go out these people, whoever these people are or were, could be Keegan, could be more than just him, because we don't know who he was sharing information with, but that could be motive for murder. These CSAM rings are huge. They have lots of players. This is the largest one in Indiana's history. So you know there's a lot of people involved. And all I can say is you've got to keep an open mind about that, because this could go a lot higher than we think. And it could very well be that if she was threatening, if she even brought up the fact that she was going to turn them in, that could be a reason right there. And knowing Libby, the way we've learned about her and how tenacious she was, how incredibly intelligent she was, how much she was intrigued by true crime and wanting to be in law enforcement, it would not surprise me at all that if she did figure it out, that she would want to do something about it. What's sad is if that is true, what a horrible thing for it to happen to these two beautiful young girls that we've all grown to love, that was taken from the world too soon. That article that I read that, was from the U.S. Sun, which isn't the best paper in the world, but Carrie obviously did an interview with them. I can't say enough about how much I feel bad for Carrie. She's not talked about enough. I don't care what the family dynamic is. This mother lost her daughter. She lost a daughter who connected with her every single day. Libby loved her mother. They texted all the time, and she's hurting. And it's sad for me. And I feel bad for Carrie. I do. And I also feel bad for Becky and Mike and Kelsey and Anna and all of the Patties and the Germans and the Williams. I feel bad for all of them and the Erskines. I feel these families have been torn apart by this case. And it's just so sad. Hey, Steve, how are you? Welcome. So good to have you here. It's not our place to be in the middle of family dynamic. It's our place to support. And I support Carrie just like I support the rest of them. And like I said, she is Libby's biological mother, and Libby loved her mother. And that there is no question about that. So that's all I need to know. And Carrie loved her daughter. And it's hell losing a child. And it's sad that she's still, you can just tell that's just raw, and she's completely given up on law enforcement, which in itself is sad, but they won't talk to her. Which, you know what, guys, I'm just going to throw that out here too before I get off of here. That's not uncommon. Not with ISP. They haven't talked in the Flora case to the mother either. They don't talk to her and tell her anything either. So this is not uncommon practice for ISP. Oh, Pam, thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. And I just want to say that because they haven't spoke to Galen either. And that mother lost 4 children to arson. So it doesn't surprise me. And I just, like I said, my heart goes out to them. And I had somebody email me and said, I have forgotten about Flora with everything going on with Delphi. I trust me, you guys, I have not forgotten Flora. I haven't given up on Flora. I'm still investigating behind the scenes. Allie and I are still hard at work. Don't worry. Gonzo and Perry and I are all still working on Flora. We have not given up on Flora. And so, please do not mention people's names in here, because that is a breach of YouTube's policy on sharing personal and private information. You can get in trouble. I can get in trouble for doing that. So if you do it, your comment will be removed. So anybody that does it, you have to have the comment removed. Okay? You just can't do it. If they are a person that is in the public eye, and they've been in the news, that's different. But don't be revealing people that aren't supposed to be revealed. Well, you guys, I hope you got some information tonight. I know there's a lot going on. Fig, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for chiming in. We miss your critical thinking. We need it. Everybody loves you. Steve, I know, I don't understand it either. I don't understand it at all, Steve. I never will understand how people cannot be compassionate for another one's loss. Mel, you are so wonderful. I just love you. Thank you so much. And you know what? We've just got to all stick together as a community and keep these cases alive, keep talking about them, keep them out there and putting pressure, because you know what? At the end of the day, we're going to get justice. It's coming. I really do believe that. And it's just a matter of time. And I hope Carrie's right. I hope this stuff that's going on right now doesn't turn out to be something other than what we're all hoping it to be, because that would be a huge letdown for this entire community. So let's keep the faith. As Perry told us, stick with the plan. And we'll go from there. And I'll see you guys on Thursday night. Unless something crazy happens with my sciatica and my voice, I will be here on Thursday. I love all of you. Thank you so much for your support. I'm almost to 1,800 subscribers. I'm here to tell you guys, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be here in 6 months' time with this many people following me. I thank you all for your support. Please make sure you like and subscribe to my videos. Hit the bell so that you get notification when I'm going to go live next. And my mods are so good. I love Jennifer and Michelle and Unsolved Crime, John, France, Tech Death Hippie, Grismatically Clever. You guys are the reason that keep that chat going. All of my members, I can't say enough about the doors. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for your memberships. All of that helps to go support this channel, because trust me, it does take a lot. All the subscriptions and all the stuff to do what we do is not, it just takes a lot. And I appreciate those that want to pay for that. So thank you so much. All of the new people who stopped in tonight, I want to welcome you. I hope you found a place where you can find respect and calm. I know we had a few trolls in here, which is unusual for us. But with everything going on in Delphi right now, it does not surprise me. And as I block people, we're going to have trolls. So I do apologize for that on the back end, but stick with us, because it does get better. And you guys, stay safe out there, and always, always remember, behind the crime door, where nothing is as it seems. Be safe, guys, and pay it forward. Good night.